This is a fictional discussion between two scholars exploring the profound influence of ancient Egyptian beliefs on their civilization. Study with Artemis Inc. This content was produced with the assistance of AI-generated content. Ancient Egyptian Beliefs, a Cultural Blueprint.
The link between belief and architecture in ancient Egypt is undeniably foundational. The pyramids, for instance, are the ultimate expression of their elaborate funerary beliefs, particularly the concept of the afterlife and the pharaoh's journey to divinity. They weren't merely tombs. They were complex machines designed to facilitate the pharaoh's transition to the realm of the gods, ensuring his eternal well-being and, by extension, the prosperity of Egypt. The very orientation of these structures, often aligned with astronomical phenomena, reflects their cosmological understanding and the belief in a divinely ordered universe.
I'd add that it wasn't just the pyramids. Consider the vast temple complexes like Karnak or Luxor. These were not simply places of worship. They were cosmic models, microcosms of the divine order. Their layout, the progression of courtyards and halls, the intricate reliefs and hieroglyphs adorning every surface, all served to narrate myths, glorify deities, and legitimize the pharaoh's role as the intermediary between gods and humans. The sheer scale and durability of these structures were intended to reflect the eternal nature of the gods and the enduring power of the pharaohs. The belief in Ma'at, cosmic order and justice, was often physically embodied in the symmetrical and harmonious design of these sacred spaces.
Precisely. Even the materials chosen, particularly stone, symbolized permanence and eternity, contrasting sharply with the ephemeral mud brick used for ordinary dwellings. The meticulous craftsmanship and the immense labor involved were acts of piety, a collective effort to secure divine favor and maintain cosmic balance.
The divine nature of the pharaoh was the cornerstone of Egyptian political theory. The pharaoh was not just a ruler. He was Horus incarnate, the son of Ra, a living deity responsible for maintaining Ma'at on earth. This belief provided an unparalleled source of legitimacy and authority. Every decree, every law, every administrative act was imbued with divine sanction. Disobeying the pharaoh was not merely an act of rebellion against a human king, but an affront to the cosmic order itself.
This divine mandate also meant the pharaoh held absolute power, encompassing religious, political, and military leadership. The elaborate rituals surrounding his coronation, his daily life, and even his death reinforced this divine status. The priesthood, while powerful, ultimately served to uphold the pharaoh's unique position, interpreting divine will and performing rites necessary for the state's well-being. The concept of Ma'at provided the ethical framework for governance, obliging the pharaoh to rule justly and ensure prosperity, thereby demonstrating his divine efficacy.
Indeed, the bureaucracy itself, with its intricate hierarchy of scribes and officials, was structured to serve this divinely ordained system. Their loyalty was not just to a person, but to a sacred institution. This religious underpinning created a remarkably stable and enduring political system for millennia, as challenges to the pharaoh were challenges to the very fabric of their universe.
The pharaoh's divine role extended directly to the battlefield. He was not just a general. He was the embodiment of the war god Montu, or the victorious Horus, leading his armies with divine protection and sanction. Military campaigns were often framed as extensions of the pharaoh's duty to maintain Ma'at, to subdue chaos, represented by foreign enemies, and to expand the influence of the gods. Before battles, elaborate rituals and prayers were offered to ensure divine favor.
Absolutely. The imagery on temple walls depicting pharaohs smiting their enemies, often shown disproportionately large and victorious, wasn't just propaganda, it was a theological statement. It reinforced the belief that the pharaoh, guided by the gods, was invincible. Defeat was often attributed to a temporary lapse in divine favor or a failure to properly appease the gods rather than a purely military miscalculation. The spoils of war were frequently dedicated to temples, further demonstrating the religious justification for conflict and the gods' role in victory. The very act of campaigning was a sacred duty.
And even the treatment of prisoners or conquered peoples could be influenced by religious beliefs, sometimes leading to their incorporation into Egyptian society or their dedication as servants to temples, fulfilling a divine purpose. The military itself, while a professional force, operated within this overarching religious framework.
Education in ancient Egypt was primarily vocational and deeply intertwined with religious and state functions. The most prestigious form of education was scribal training, which was essential for administering the vast bureaucracy and recording religious texts. Scribes were not just literate, they were the guardians of knowledge, responsible for copying sacred texts, maintaining temple records, and drafting official documents. This profession was highly respected because it directly served the divine order and the pharaoh.
Indeed, the curriculum, while including basic literacy, mathematics, and administration, was heavily infused with moral and ethical teachings derived from Mayat. Students were taught the importance of obedience, respect for authority, divine and earthly, and the proper conduct that would ensure a harmonious life and a successful journey to the afterlife. Many texts used for instruction were religious or moralistic in nature, emphasizing piety